Now, the woman who I called fat and got banned for 2 weeks for doing this after she said America deserved 9/11 and all American soldiers, I hope they get PTSD. Well, it looks like she's in a bit of hot water and is getting completely obliterated by Ethan Klein.
Frogan has eaten her legal fund. Ooh. We're going to get into it today on The Legal Mindset.
If this is true and she didn't use her legal fund that she got from her community to pay her legal fees and instead spent it on DoorDash, her career is over.
Teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney.
Oh.
So for those that have been following this case, we obviously have our...
God, she looks like a fat witch. Like, genuinely. Like, she just looks like a fucking evil witch.
Defendant Frogan here, who is embroiled in a lawsuit over copyright infringement for the Hassan Piker content nuke. Now, also in that lawsuit were Casey Tron and Denims, but of course, Casey Tron, as we saw, stepped out.
As to the GoFundMe money, to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees, I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the clients.
And Denims is ready to take this to trial, ready to take this all the way.
Man.
But we've always been waiting on Frogan and what she's going to do. There was a lot of speculation.
Waiting on Frogan, that's weird. The only thing Frogan waits for is her food to get finished cooking in the oven. Or, let's be honest, delivered on DoorDash or Uber Eats.
About Frogan, thinking she might settle, much in the same way of Casey Tron, while some were saying she was dedicated.
I love how Frogan LARPs her religion just so she gets to wear this black wizard robe to hide that big belly from her audience.
To fighting this to the end like Denims, that she was a true warrior. Well, we now have figured out exactly what's going to happen, and that is she is going to default on this case. And that's because today we have filed in the U.S. District Court, the Central District for California.
Not a good
we
look.
have filed a request for default judgment against defendant Morgan Kamal Majid. That is exactly Frogan in this case. So what is a motion for default judgment? That's a motion essentially saying, hey, they haven't responded. They've passed the deadlines. So now we're going to assume liability. So once...
You know what Frogan and Denims look like when they stand next to each other? This always tickles me. Denims and Frogan, when they stand next to each other, look like Ornstein and Smog. Oh, God. Only way less badass. Sorry about that.
This is accepted by the court and approved by the court.
Name a more iconic combo. Well, the most iconic combo in Frogan's mind is the number 4 from McDonald's. Okay, dude, I can't. Every Frogan video ends up just being fat jokes. Although I'll be real, these aren't jokes.
Liability is completely on Frogan. She gives up the fair use defense. She can no longer argue the law. All of that is out. The only thing left after this is damages. So you can argue over damages. So she would have a chance to speak up and say, no, the damages aren't that much, or let's argue over the damages. But essentially the trial is over. It's done. She's lost after this point.
Yep.
So let's get through the facts to
Let's
figure out
go!
exactly how bad this was and how much Frogan did not put up a fight. But before we...
Title of the video, Frogan lost the lawsuit. Millions in debt.
We move on. There's an important message I want you guys to hear. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting...
Dude, go use Legal Mindset's link. Morgan & Morgan, GOAT as sponsor. They've been sponsoring the out of my channel too. I've been loving it.
May be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000.
Scan that man's QR code, man. Get in there. If you haven't used one of mine already, man, you need to go check out the Morgan & Morgan. You'll be getting thousands of dollars.
So here we have in the same motion filed saying plaintiff TED Entertainment hereby requests the clerk enter default in this matter against defendant Morgan Kamal Majid, PKA Frogan, on the grounds that the defendant has failed to appear or otherwise respond to the complaint within the...
And you know what's crazy? She failed to appear, which should be like the easiest part for her because she's so fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she were to just take a step out of her house, you'd be able to see the bitch.
Time prescribed by the federal rules of procedure. Now, understand, this is not asking much. All that will be required is a very simple filing. She could have told her lawyer.
Yeah, the only time Frogan asks for much is when somebody asks her what she wants to eat.
Hey, I'm on a budget. Hey, I don't want to spend that much money. Hey, you know,
unless it's on food.
try to keep this to, just a one pager, the bare bones. Let's just give a basic
Bare bones is how she leaves chicken after she's given a whole rotisserie.
complaint response so we don't
Complaint is the only thing she does when the food isn't out on time.
default. They could have kept that to a minimum amount. You can tell your lawyer, hey, keep this cheap, just the bare minimum. I want to delay this. I want to try to push
Sorry,
this
guys.
off. That's definitely something you could
I
tell
didn't
the
chill.
lawyer, but they didn't even give that. And they've had almost a year at this point. So since August of last year. So this was filed, of course, June 19th of last year. July 17th of last year, Frogan got the complaint. And on August 5th of last year, they had a joint stipulation to extend her deadline from August to October and also give her time for these filings. Since then, they also engaged in settlement negotiations. Now, the counsel for both sides can't talk about the details of settlement negotiation. However, I would like to speculate here, if I may, and I would like to
Speculate, something that Frogan does every single time she eats on what she's going to have for dessert.
say that they probably did the bare minimum in negotiation to make
Bare minimum is what Frogan does for exercise.
get kicked down the line to just take this and extend this out as far as possible. Obviously, they didn't come up with an agreeable settlement. And I think during this period of time, Frogan was looking at Casey Tron and her settlement. And she was thinking, hey, look, if I settle, I'm going to have to give all of my legal defense fund over to Ethan Klein. And instead of doing that, let me kick this down the can and use those funds for my Big Macs. Yes, the giant mountain of Big Macs that we can all
No way! She used her defense fund on McDonald's. No way. Wait a minute. Oh, there's definitely a way.
see Frogan chowing down on. Let's use that for the Big Mac fund over this period of time. And as I whittle this down,
That's rough.
we'll eventually just not ignore it, whatever else. And hey, maybe this will go away. And
Nope.
maybe she got advice that it'd be totally okay for her to just ignore this and default. Maybe she
Retard.
got somebody whispering in her ear, yeah, forget about it. He's not actually going to go after you.
What a
or
retard.
It's going to look bad or you're going to become some sort of sob story. Well, that's not the case. The court, of course, at this point had every right to enter into a default judgment, which is what they're requesting. So they informed them on April 20th that they intended to proceed with litigation, gave her 3 weeks, and their deadline to respond was May 11th. That did not come. That day came and gone. And now, boom, we're at default judgment territory. Now, how is this not a scam? Because if we look at her legal defense fund, her lawsuit defense fund on Give, Send, Go, she raised almost $40,000, $38,000.
She got $40,000 from her community and others' communities like Hassan and Denham's, which, hilarious, and spent it all on McDonald's rather than get the legal representation that she promised her community to do so. So not only is she a fraud, she's a liar, she's a scammer, and worst of all, she's really fucking Who spends $40,000 on DoorDash? Holy shit.
756
The funds did not come. Neither has any man looking at her. I love my chat.
dollars, including donations that were running up to this day. She was getting donations very, very recently that were coming into her fund.
This thumbnail, POV, you're a McDonald's chicken nugget. Damn, bro. The stare of death upon you.
So she's still out there grifting for her legal defense.
Of course.
Despite the fact that she hasn't really used this for legal defense. Really, there's been no filings on her part, significant filings, over almost a year. Since August of last year, she really hasn't done anything. So what's going on? Where
Besides eat.
did all this money go? Didn't she have to use that for legal funds? Well, I called this out last year, and I am proven absolutely right yet again that she tucked some weasel words in here so she didn't get hit with scamming or fraud allegations. So if we turn back to the actual language that she tucked into that Give, Send, Go legal defense fund, you can see it says here, this fundraiser is to cover any and all legal fees associated with his complaint, talking about Ethan Klein. Any counterclaims I may have against him, well, she can't file any counterclaims if she defaults. That's totally gone.
True.
So that's some BS to begin with. And then saying any other bills and personal expenses.
She set it up just to get a couple extra McDoubles. The double cheeseburger, the hamburglar. She played us all, man, just to fill up her belly one final time before she went out. God bless you, Frogan. You played us all for fools.
From lost wages and damages arising from this litigation. So her whole horse is going to be bet on.
Her whole horse will be bet and eaten. The one thing is, hopefully, with all of this, Frogan will have experienced some personal growth going through all of this, besides the personal growth of her belly expanding and expanding and expanding.
Personal expenses and bills. So she used this for rent. She used this once again for the Big Mac fund, you know, chowing down on Cheetos, fried chicken, whatever else she did. But I mean, she was not using this for this fund. And because of that, she's able to say, hey, I didn't scam you because I put personal expenses in there. So you can't sue me. You guys can't come back and say I defrauded you because I disclosed this could be my personal expenses. So in judgment here, looking at this, I absolutely believe that she clearly used this for her personal expenses chiefly. Because she really didn't do anything in this lawsuit significantly. Her legal bills are probably no more than a couple $1,000s in this. Over totaling based on what she did. She really didn't have to spend more than that for what she's done so far. It really isn't that expensive to just, you know, go and have settlement.
GG's, boys, GG's,
etc. And not even filing a response, a basic short 1-2 page response, something very simple, is absolutely disgraceful, having put up a legal defense fund, not even putting up a fight, not even taking this to summary judgment or a further stage where she could try to make an attempt to argue the law, try to do what Denham's did. She's not even gone as far as Denham's, right? Denham's at least shown, hey, she's willing to put up some level of fight in this.
Yep.
She hasn't even tried. Frogan has been sitting in her room, not doing anything with this. And
well, no, she's been doing something. She's been eating.
If you look at the actual liability, it's going to be large. It's going to be over 200K. Likely the statutory damages alone are up to 150K, and that doesn't include any of Frogan's profit.
Frogan's fucked. Frogan is fucked. Oh my God. All of my ops are being obliterated. 2 of them being exposed as doxers, 1 being exposed as having an ego explosion because his kids prefer Asmongold over him, another one eating themselves into financial ruin, another one possessing CSAM on their computer. I now genuinely believe that if you have a problem with me, you are projecting so fucking hard.
Profits or any of Ethan's lost revenue. So if they're able to cobble together 50 or 100K of lost profits or Frogan's revenue, something like that, as well as attorney's fees.
Well, I heard whale blubber sells for quite a lot. They use it in perfume. They might be able to trick France if Frogan gets a liposuction, keeps all the excess blubber and sells it for some profit over to Paris.
Because Ethan can tack his attorney's fees onto this. That certainly is going to be expensive because we all know that Ethan has the best lawyers on this that are very expensive. That's certainly going to get over 200K. So we're looking at a 6-figure amount. That's going to be a lot for Frogan, for someone who is constantly begging for money and saying she's broke. So what do I think her strategy is? I think it's to declare personal bankruptcy. I think her strategy all along has been to deplete these funds. So even if Ethan Klein wins, she can say, hey, that fund is empty. I already drained that fund, so you can't get anything from that. And
the only thing Frogan drains is a McDonald's chocolate milkshake.
I am personally broke. She will declare bankruptcy after the judgment. So, hey, you're not going to get anything from me. So I think that's her strategy. Now, that doesn't always work out. In some cases, there can still be liability attached. Now, that's going to be up for Ethan Klein to figure out that and fight that battle. But I think that's going to be her strategy in all of this. But without a doubt, we can say that Frogan ate it all. I want to know what you guys think in the comments.
There's no way Frogan's broke. There's no way. She just had a fucking cameo on Baki. That had to have paid thousands. She legit just starred in Baki. That had to have paid big bucks. It had to. And by the way, battles, speaking of battles, the battle that Frogan faces every morning is getting a belt to actually go around her waist. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.